ready for a blast from the past as we dive deep into the action-packed multiverse of Henry Danger, the movie. If you're here for nostalgia, you're in the right place. Stick around because you're getting exactly what you clicked for. Now, we've got an exciting journey ahead with 5 main sections and a bonus surprise at the end. But before we embark on this trip down memory lane, make sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Now, let's break it all down.
I'm gonna burst into tears.
Burst into tears every time I think of you. Burst into tears every time I think of you. Burst into tears. I burst into tears. I burst into tears every time I freaking think of you. Henry Danger, the movie, premiered on January 17th, 2025 on Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus. Fans had been waiting for this moment since the show ended in 2020. The creators, Jake Farrow and Christopher J. Nowak, two of the minds behind Henry Danger, the series, created by Dan Schneider, and the director, Joe Menendez. He knows how to bring action to life. But what's the movie actually about? It all starts in Swellview, where scientists at Evil Science Corp create a reality-altering device, RAD, which, by the way, sounds like the kind of thing Captain Man should have kept an eye on. But no, it ends up in the hands of Missy Martin, a super fan of Kid Danger, who, let's just say, takes fan fiction way too seriously. Missy uses the device to bring her own Kid Danger story to life. But instead of just adding cool moments, she accidentally traps Henry inside different realities. So now Henry and Missy have to navigate alternate dimensions to set things right while dodging all kinds of weird, chaotic versions of Swellview along the way. It's like Spider-Verse meets Henry Danger.
I'm gonna burst into tears.
Burst into tears every time I think of you. Burst into tears every time I think of you. Burst into tears. I burst into tears. I burst into tears every time I freaking think of you. Now, obviously, a Henry Danger movie wouldn't work without the cast that made the show legendary. Henry Hart, played by Jace Norman, the OG Kid Danger himself. Jace produced this movie, proving he's not just a Nickelodeon star, but also calling shots behind the scenes. Captain Man, played by Cooper Barnes. He makes a special appearance in the movie, and let's be real, Henry is great, but without Captain Man's chaotic energy, Swellview would have been destroyed years ago. Jasper Dunlop, played by Sean Ryan Fox, Henry's best friend who would do anything for him. Piper Hart, played by Ella Anderson, still iconic, still terrifying, still making Henry's life miserable. Schwaz, played by Michael D. Cohen. What's a Henry Danger adventure without at least one insane invention from Schwaz? Missy Martin, played by Glee Dangle, the new character and ultimate Kid Danger superfan turned unintentional villain. If fan fiction had a danger level, she'd be a Category 10 hurricane. Even Frankie Grande, yes, Ariana Grande's brother, makes a return as Frankini, because every Nickelodeon villain deserves a musical number at some point. Before we continue, drop your favorite Henry Danger moments in the comments below. And if you got any ideas for future videos, I'm all ears. Quick reminder, there's a special bonus section waiting for you at the end. Trust me, you don't want to miss this.
I'm gonna burst into tears.
Burst into tears every time I think of you. Burst into tears every time I think of you. Burst into tears. I burst into tears. I burst into tears every time I freaking think of you. Alright, let's get real for a second. Henry Danger wasn't just a kid show. It was the kid show. It ran for 6 years, 2014 to 2020. Had 5 seasons and spun off into Danger Force. Jace Norman became one of Nickelodeon's biggest stars, and Henry Danger consistently pulled millions of viewers, which by today's standards is insane for a live action show. And let's not forget, Henry Danger gave us some of the greatest running gags in Nickelodeon history. Jasper's obsession with bucket collecting, Piper's legendary freakouts.
Your sister's nuts! You better Just go.
Schwa's just existing. The fact that we got a full-length movie in 2025 proves that Henry Danger still has a massive fan base. So the real question is, did Henry Danger the movie honor the show's legacy, or did it fumble the bag?
I'm gonna burst into tears.
Burst into tears every time I think of you. Burst into tears every time I think of you. Burst into tears. I burst into tears. I burst into tears every time I freaking think of you. Alright, let's break it down. What worked and what could have been better. The good nostalgia overload. This movie felt like a long lost Henry Danger episode, just on a bigger scale. Seeing Jace Norman back as Henry, instant dopamine boost. The alternate realities were actually created. The concept of jumping between different versions of Swellview was a cool twist. Instead of just throwing in a generic villain, we got a fan fiction gone wrong scenario, which is honestly hilarious. Cameos and callbacks. Longtime fans were rewarded with hidden Easter eggs and returning characters. Schwaz, Jasper, and even Frank Keeney singing for no reason. Yeah, they knew exactly what we wanted. The bad Captain Man's screen time was way too short. Let's be real. We needed more of that indestructible, overdramatic man-child in the story. Charlotte, played by Riel Downs, not being in the movie, let's just say her absence was felt. On a scale from Jasper's bucket collection to Captain Man's hair product, this movie lands at a solid Schwaz invention that actually worked. Meaning, it wasn't perfect, but it did what it needed to do.
I'm gonna burst into tears.
Burst into tears every time I think of you. Burst into tears every time I think of you. Burst into tears. I burst into tears. I burst into tears every time I freaking think of you. So why did Nickelodeon decide to make a Henry Danger movie now? The answer, Jace Norman. After Henry Danger ended in 2020, Jace stayed with Nickelodeon as a producer, helping develop Danger Force and other projects. Nickelodeon knew Henry Danger still had a huge fan base, so when Jace Norman got involved behind the scenes, the movie was basically inevitable. Also, let's not ignore the obvious. Nostalgia sells. Shows like iCarly, Zoe 101, and Drake and Josh still have die-hard fans. Nickelodeon saw the opportunity to bring Henry Danger back one more time, and they ran with it. And honestly, it worked. The real question is, will we ever get another Henry Danger movie? And even bigger than that, could Henry return in the future? I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
I'm gonna burst into tears.
Burst into tears every time I think of you. Burst into tears every time I think of you. Burst into tears. I burst into tears. I burst into tears every time I freaking think of you. Alright, time for the good stuff. You know, those details you probably didn't catch, let's break them down. Jace Norman was more than just the star. He helped produce the film, meaning he wasn't just playing Kid Danger. He was literally making sure the movie happened. The RAD is a reference to old Nickelodeon lore. It's designed in a way that resembles the technology from past Nick sci-fi comedies, like The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron and Danny Phantom. Coincidence? I think not. Captain Man's cameo wasn't guaranteed. Cooper Barnes wasn't originally confirmed to return, which means we almost had a Henry Danger movie without Captain Man. So, at the end of the day, was Henry Danger the movie worth the wait? If you're a fan of Henry Danger, this movie is 100% made for you. It's fun, it's packed with nostalgia, and it feels like a big, crazy, chaotic, extra long episode of the show. Could it have been bigger? Sure. But for a Nickelodeon TV movie, it did exactly what it needed to do. And if nothing else, at least we didn't get Henry Danger the musical. If you're craving more nostalgia, check out another video on the channel and share your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to hit like and subscribe and ring that bell to make sure you never miss out on any future videos. Follow me on all other platforms. See you in the next one.